Let's see, hold on. I'm prepared, honest.
I swear, I know what I'm doing.
I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. Hello, today is... what the hell is today?
Good start.
Hello, today is Monday, January 26, 2015. This is View from the Pondcast, recorded here in the Pondcast Studios in frozen upstate New York on the eve of Apocalypse, or Snowpocalypse 2015. I'm Chuck.
And I'm Sean. And I think technically I'm on the eve of the apocalypse here. They're calling for 3 feet. You're only going to get, what, a foot there?
Yeah, at most.
Yes, I think I'm in worse shape than you are at this point.
Yeah, more than likely.
Supposed worse shape, we should say.
Well, they were closing down, it sounds like they were closing down a lot of stuff down by you. I have friends that go to college in the city and stuff, and they were posting videos and stuff that they were closing at like noon, 1 o'clock too, so I don't think it was just Long Island.
Oh yeah, they're closing everything. Things are going crazy. But again, people are responding more to the weather reports than the actual storm. But to be fair, it has been snowing since probably about 12:30. So it's been snowing for the last 8 hours consistently.
Yeah, see, Albany must have been kind of like a dead spot because we didn't start snowing till maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock. Like it was just, I think I just had a dusting of snow on my car when I left at 5 to go to the gym. So yeah, you're probably going to get your ass handed to you. Although it was hysterical. I went to the grocery store at lunch just to get lunch, and I couldn't find a spot. I'm like, screw this. I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, people get crazy about this stuff.
Oh, yeah. They were showing pictures of, hardware stores without shovels and salt. And I'm like, especially up here, it's like, have you people never been in a snowstorm before? I mean, really? You don't have anything?
Apparently not.
But
well, I mean, hell, I bought stuff, but I bought stuff a while back.
When I was doing I'll be prepared.
Yeah. No, when I was doing my Christmas lights in early November, I was in Lowe's buying some stuff, and I bought salt then, and I bought a new shovel, and it's been sitting on the side. Why rush?
Sounds reasonable.
But not everyone's as reasonable as us,
Fair enough. Not everybody can be as talented as us. So since this is the inaugural episode of Welcome to the Pondcast, people are probably going to wonder what they can expect from us. So a lot of it will probably be me covering stuff going on in life, mixing some reviews of sports, films, games, TV, stuff like that. Pretty much anything we talk about just sitting around having a couple beers. So you probably get just kind of a mix. And like I said, speaking of friends, they'll have friends from time to time. This is my buddy Sean, who's stopping by for the inaugural episode.
I'm officially co-hosting the inaugural episode.
You are. That means you do realize that means you're going to be stuck doing this like a lot now.
Not like I got anything better to do.
Yeah, fair enough. So we could probably tell the people a little bit about ourselves. Like I said, my name is Chuck. I live upstate in New York. I've been here all my life. And I'm Code Monkey, as Jonathan Colton would put it. I just write code for a living.
Well, I'm Sean, otherwise known as Prophet Beal. I run... What do I do for a living? I don't know what I do.
I've been asking that for years, man.
Yeah, man. I just get paid. Nobody really knows what I do. I'm like Barney Stinson. But I run a YouTube channel right now, Prophet Beal, on obviously YouTube. That's spamastically bad to say. But I also, for professionally, to get paid for money, I work on SQL servers and all that kind of fun techie nonsense.
Well, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to make it so the orders get shipped out, I suppose.
Yeah, somebody. But why does it have to be me?
Apparently they think you can do that sort of thing.
Well, they pay me to do it. Whether I can or not, that remains to be seen.
Well, they haven't fired you yet, so I suppose there's that.
Touché. All right, so where do you want to start this? What's the first topic of the day?
Oh, who knows? Well, you said you have a YouTube channel, so why don't we go into, are you playing anything new and interesting lately?
Lately, actually, yeah. I picked up this game called Brawlhalla. So it's Brawl, and then Holla, like holla at ya. Just in one word. It's like a Super Smash Brothers brawler, but obviously it's not Super Smash Brothers. And it's only right now only for PC, and it's still in early access, which means it's like a beta game. It's not live.
Is that an open beta or a closed beta?
Well, on Steam it's open, so anyone can buy in and play the game. I think I got my key from the dev themselves. I had emailed them and they sent me a beta key, so that was pretty cool. But I've been having fun with it. I live streamed it a couple times, and it's fun to get back to Smash Brothers. I haven't played Smash Brothers in years because I don't have any Nintendo system. But yeah, good times.
Yeah, it seems like Smash Brothers is back in the eye. I think didn't they actually just release a new Smash Brothers for the Nintendo? So it's probably trying to cash in a little bit on that.
Yeah, on the Wii U and I think on the 3DS. And supposedly it's an amazing game. Everyone's been loving the new Smash Brothers. And
that's what I've heard from a couple of friends who have it. Now, do these characters that you're playing as, are they sort of, I don't want to say ripping off Smash Brothers, but do they kind of have, like, Link but not Link?
No, not really. Well, at least not that I've noticed. I mean, they're different kind of generic characters. You got your pirate, you got, like, I think a robot. There's definitely a good 12 or 13 characters right now, and I think I know they're adding more.
Well, that's cool. That's good that they're not just kind of trying to port, and change it enough to get away with not infringing on their copyright. So that's cool that they put enough effort into it to make it their own, even though the styling is very similar to Smash Brothers. So that's awesome.
Exactly.
So anything else? You play most of your games on Steam, don't you? Or that's kind of where you get them?
Yeah, Steam's my bread and butter. I've never really got into some of the other purchasing systems out there. I do everything on Steam sales. It's the easiest way to be a budget gamer living off.
I think there's only like one other service like Steam, isn't there? I can only think of one other, and of course the name eludes me. But
no, there's a couple. There's like Origin, which is EA's like solution.
Okay, and I think that was probably the one I was thinking of was EA's.
Yeah, there's also. I think there's Uplay, but I think Uplay is more of just it's like a Windows Live kind of thing. It's another system you have to sign into. I'm not 100% sure if you buy games through them. But then there's other things.
Kind of like an Xbox.
Yeah.
Kind of like an Xbox arcade kind of thing.
Exactly. Like you can buy stuff from like GOG. They do a lot of retailing. You can buy games right off of Amazon and download them. So
that's cool.
There are other mediums out there, but I think Steam is like the biggest. Well, I know Steam is the biggest.
Yeah, I think everybody pretty much knows, at least, they may not have used Steam, but I'm pretty sure anybody who does any kind of piece of gaming knows who Steam is, whether you buy from them or not. You kind of know who they are and what they're about.
Yeah, they're definitely a great, in my opinion, a great service.
Well, they've been around, I think, probably, it seems like the longest anyhow, and they keep integrating new games, and I know a couple of channels that I follow on YouTube, I know that's where they're getting their games, and they're larger channels, so I would imagine that I don't know if they're getting kickbacks or whatever for playing them and promoting Steam, but I would imagine that they must be pretty solid at this point if larger channels on YouTube and whatnot are using them for getting their product, since they depend on them.
Oh yeah, Steam is huge in that sense. For a long time they had the market cornered, and then Amazon came in and GOG came in, and then even Origin started doing stuff. But no one's gotten to the size of Steam, which is actually kind of funny considering how big Amazon is, and they can't even really compete.
Well, it seems like Amazon's trying to get their hands into a bunch of stuff, between that, and I know they have their streaming service to compete with Netflix and Hulu, so, I'm sure Amazon's like everybody. They're trying to get their hands to as many products as they can to, expand their profits, as it were.
Oh, yeah. Plus with now they have a new phone, the Amazon Fire, and they have the streaming devices, and they're everywhere.
Yeah, which those commercial with the kids I think they're the Amazon Fire phones, and those kids crack me up. And at the same time, it's terrifying because you have 8-year-olds who are, whipping out a $200, $150 phone. It always just kills me. I don't know why. Probably because I was playing with rocks and dirt when I was that age.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, my kids love it. They want everything.
Oh, sure.
They want an iPod. They want this. Like, you're not getting any of that stuff.
I have a buddy of mine at work who, his kids are, I don't know, maybe 10, 8, somewhere thereabouts. I don't pay attention, but I know they have iPods or iPads and the iPad Mini, and another one of my friends has twin 10-year-olds, and they've each got an iPad. So, like I said, I remember having a Sega Genesis and being thrilled with the, awful, was it 16-bit graphic? No, I think it was 8-bit graphics still on the Genesis, but makes me want to play it. Makes me thankful for emulators that I can play those games still and still be awful at them.
Oh yeah, I love me some emulators. I have to get back into those.
Yeah, I need to remember to bring my tablet with me, since I have an emulator on there. I just keep forgetting to bring it with me.
What system?
Which system for what?
The emulator.
Oh, I don't know, the one you gave me, or the one that you showed me, the Super NES one, I think it is.
Oh yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. I enjoy it. I use it a lot when I go on trips and stuff when I'm on the plane, and you have to be in airplane mode, so I use it a lot for that.
Yeah, I think they've not so much done away with airplane mode, but I mean, nowadays all these airplanes have Wi-Fi. It just gets easier and easier just to spin up your Wi-Fi and leave it on and play whatever.
Oh yeah, I just went to Texas a couple weeks ago, and they still made a point to say that it had to be on airplane mode so that you're not sending a cell signal. But yeah, everybody. I mean, you look around the plane, and at least half, if not more, had tablets out or phones out or laptops out, and it definitely makes it easier traveling with kids. I'm sure you've probably seen that with your two. That makes life so much easier that you can occupy them, and especially during takeoff and landing.
Well, it's one of the big things about JetBlue. TVs right in the seats.
Nice. Yeah, I don't have I think they're thinking about bringing JetBlue back to Albany. We had them for like 5 minutes a couple of years, 5-10 years ago, and they're talking about possibly bringing JetBlue back. So we'll see how that goes. We just have Southwest up here, which is fine.
Get you where you need to go.
Oh yeah, sure. So are there any other games that you're playing on Steam or anywhere else?
Oh, I've got a bunch of them I've been playing. I've actually been playing stuff that I've been recording and just haven't posted it yet because I don't want to overwhelm my own channel, so I just record everything I play.
Makes sense. And again, if you guys want to check out Sean's gaming channel, it's PROPHETBEAL on YouTube, Prophet Beal. So you can check him out, see the games that he's playing, and go check him out for some good recommendations on stuff to play. He plays you definitely play a wide variety of games. It's not just I think you have some simulation type games with the prison game and
Prison Architect,
Papers, Please, and yeah, you do a lot of variety, which is nice.
Oh yeah. Well, I have a very wide spectrum of things I like to play, so why not share them all?
Well, keeps it interesting, keeps you from getting bored, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
So what else is going on? I just got my Lootcrate this couple days ago. That was kind of cool.
Nice. What was this month's Loot Crate?
This month's theme was Rewind, so it was a lot of retro-y type stuff. One of the things they had was a pair of 8-bit sunglasses, which I know they've offered before. I'm pretty sure I have a pair somewhere that I got from them. But they also had, which seems to be very chic now, I see a lot of it, is they had a Voltron blueprint type shirt. So it looked like almost an not expanded, but a blueprint design of Voltron, the 80s show, for those of us who are old enough to remember Voltron.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fantastic. They also had a throwback exclusive, Loot Crate exclusive Star Wars comic, which was kind of neat. And then they also had a tie that came with a Space Invaders design on it, which was kind of cool. Can't say that I've ever gotten anything, a crate from them that hasn't been well worth the price that I've paid for it. So if anybody's looking to kind of spoil themselves a little bit, or somebody else in their lives who knows, if you know a geek who likes little trinkety stuff and kind of neat little things every month, definitely go with a Loot Crate. And I'll try to put a link somewhere in attachment with this, so you can usually save a little bit if you go through the referral link.
Gotta get them referrals.
Sure, absolutely.
Have you, there's another one that's similar to Loot Crate. Nerd Block, I believe the name is.
I don't have it. I know I follow a couple people on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot who get it. I haven't necessarily seen what's in them. They seem to rave about them. But right now, one is pretty much my limit. But they both seem to be doing really well, from my understanding. I do believe that Loot Crate's doing better, or at least if you listen to what they're saying, they're doing better. But
yeah, it looks like they have.
Hard to say.
I'm on their site right now. It looks like they have a couple different options. They have like an actual nerd block, which is all nerdy stuff, and they have a horror block, and then they have an arcade block, which is interesting.
Yeah, and there's another type of service too that a friend of mine had gotten for Christmas. Her brother got it for her, and actually it was really kind of cool. It actually came in a wooden crate, and it was nailed shut. So you actually had, I think they gave you a little crowbar that you actually had to use to open your crate. And I think she got like beef jerky, and it was, I forget the crate. I'll have to talk to her and get the information on it. But it was definitely, it was unique. I'll give it that. It was definitely not something that I've seen before anywhere.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it definitely was something. Like I said, it was definitely something new that I hadn't seen before. So
it looks like the new episode, or this week's episode of Mythbusters, they're doing Doom related myths.
Are they really?
Like the video game Doom.
Huh, well, that's cool. I know last week, the one I just watched, they just did Indiana Jones myths, or at least they were movie. Actually, I think it was another one of their movie specials, because I know they did an Indiana Jones one where a couple things with the bullwhip. When what is it in Temple of Doom? No, it's not Temple of Doom. The first one. No. I don't know why my brain is misfiring here. The one with Alfred Molina, I can tell you that, where he's swimming across the chasm, where he gets the idol at the beginning of it.
Yep.
So they basically, wanted to see if the bullwhip would actually handle that, and could you actually do it? But they also tested a myth from and that's going to escape me too. But basically, whether you could. Oh, it was an. You know what? That's actually the one that I saw. I must have been mixing them. There was actually an A-Team themed episode. Yeah, again, proving how old we are that we both laughed at that.
I love it when a plan comes together. Hey, you know what?
Exactly.
The A-Team, they made a movie of that recently.
They did, and I heard it was awful.
You know what? I enjoyed it. Just like putting everything else aside, it wasn't as bad as going and watching the original series now, which is a good thing. But it was still fun and campy, and as long as you kind of just check logic at the door, it was a good time.
It's funny you talk about going back and watching stuff now. I remember, this is probably 8-9 years ago now even, but I was out in Indiana visiting my family, and I stopped at one of those used DVD stores, that kind of thing, like a GameStop that had used discs and whatnot, and they had, I think it was Best of Season 1 and 2 of He-Man, which I loved as a kid, right? So I'm going through, and you're laughing now. I have
the power!
And I had all the toys, too. I had the little Orko, I had Prince Adam, I had all of them. I had the lion, it was great. But I started watching it, and I had to turn it off after about 15 minutes because it was just terrible. It was so bad. It's definitely one of those shows that did not seem to hold up at all. It was terrible. So, if you're a kid of the 80s and you want to go back and rewatch something, don't go back and rewatch He-Man. It's awful.
But most of the stuff that we watched in the 80s just does not hold up.
Yeah, but like Transformers, I have the season 1 and 2 of Transformers, and Transformers is amazing still. I mean, at least to me, it seems like it's awesome. He-Man was just awful. I don't know if I could say awful enough.
Find different ways to say it. It was atrocious.
Yes.
It was
horrendous even.
So
what else is new going on down there? Anything interesting?
Not really.
Wow, this is going to make for a great podcast.
Hey, we've been doing good
anything
so
new
far.
In tech
one little snafu doesn't make anything.
Anything new in tech that you've seen lately?
Oh, in tech?
I know you are a bit more techie than I am.
Oh, yes. There's actually a lot. Oh, they just had a CES at the beginning of the month, so there was definitely some new and interesting stuff coming out there that I was almost impressed with. So you've seen these new curved TVs, right?
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw a couple commercials for them tonight. Actually, I've seen them a lot last week or so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest problem with a curved TV is the fact that nobody else in the room, like if you're sitting there with more than one person, they're not going to be able to see the TV at such a great viewing angle because of the curve to it. It's really only good when you're looking at it dead on. So what I believe it was Sharp or maybe Samsung came out with at CES was a flexible TV so that with your remote you can have it straight, like flat, and then actually have it concave or curve if you're sitting there alone.
So do you like manually touch the TV to change it, or does the remote make it flat and then
the remote
curve?
Does it?
That's awesome. That's like one more thing that I can break and cause you to have to buy a new TV.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure it's going to be nowhere even close to cost effective. But
no, not for quite a while. Okay. Yeah, they must be already implementing that, or at least announcing it, because I'm pretty sure I was watching something earlier today before we started, and they had something about it being curved and actually being good for the viewing angle. So maybe they're thinking about sitting, across from it. But yeah, I didn't think so either. It seemed odd to me, but who knows?
It's like that whole 3D branding they did a couple of years ago, where every TV had to be 3D, and now they're trying to push curves on people because 3D didn't work out for them.
Well, I had a lot of people that 3D makes nauseous, which is strange because, I mean, we see everything in life in 3D, but because of the forced 3D of it. I know a lot of people have had issues with going to 3D movies.
Well, because this is the fake 3D.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's actually a YouTube creator, actually one of Para Brothers, Hank Green, who had so many problems with 3D that he actually made. They invented and made 2D glasses to basically down convert. So, like, if your friends wanted to go to see 3D and it bothers you, you could actually wear these special glasses that will actually make it a 2D movie out of a 3D movie.
That is good. That is some engineering hoo-ha there.
Yeah, Hank is pretty awesome. I definitely he's one of the Vlogbrothers. If you haven't heard of the Vlogbrothers, go check them out. It's a good time. But he actually ran the site EcoGeek was one of his creations as well. So he ran that, and now he's part of him and his brother John do a lot of educational work and a lot of different YouTube videos, and they're creators. And actually, he just him and 2 other YouTube creators were just interviewing President Obama Friday, Saturday, something like that.
Yeah, I remember seeing the things for it. Obama's answering questions on YouTube.
Yeah, and it was great how most of the mainstream media was completely, automatically shooting it down because it was YouTube creators, and with the state of the current traditional media, it's just funny for them to shoot down anything.
Well, they don't want to lose even more of their demographic.
Oh, sure. But if you look at most of them are, well, you know what? I'm not going to get into a politics rant here.
Yeah, leave politics.
I'll save my rants for the next episode. I'm going to try to not be ranty in the first episode.
Well, you got to let the people know what to expect.
Well, sure. I'm letting them know that I'll be ranty. I'm just trying not to do it this time.
So the only other cool thing that I remember seeing coming out of CES was these new laser projectors. So it's essentially a projector that uses lasers to put the information onto the screen or wall in whatever case you're using it. But the biggest thing was the fact that since the way it was designed, instead of having to have it farther away, you can actually have it up 7 inches or 6 inches or 7 inches from your wall. So it's literally directly on your wall, and from there it could do something like a 60-inch screen.
From only a couple inches?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, especially if you're, like a college student or something, you're stuck in a dorm, or, you're in your first house and you don't have a lot of room. That's pretty awesome that you can do it with that little a distance.
It's supposed to look amazing. It's supposed to be at least 4K resolution, which...
Yeah, that's the other new thing that it seems like they keep trying to push, especially, I do a lot of video recording, and it seems like 4K is like the big thing with recording lately, especially for filmmakers and whatnot. It seems like 4K is... what a lot of new cameras that are coming out are pushing.
Oh, 4K is the next standard. I mean, movies have been running that for a while. So nowadays, like, the standard for theaters is 4K. So it's good to see the TVs and stuff starting to catch up with it.
Yeah, I just wonder at what point, though, I mean, realistically, do you actually see a difference? I definitely see a difference between standard def and high def. That kind of goes without saying. Is anybody, it was actually kind of funny when my ex, her mother is deaf, so she relies a lot on her sight. And when they went from standard def to high def, especially she's a huge baseball fan, when they went to high def, man, I thought she was going to lose her mind. She started crying the first time because it was just, she's like, I can read the pitcher's lips. I know what he's saying.
That's really
and then, of
good.
course, she started getting upset because they start putting their glove over their mouth. So she's like, I can't see what he's saying now.
Yeah, those are... I mean, I can see the difference from 1080p to 4K. It's definitely something that you have to really physically see to get the difference of it. But
so you're telling me I'm going to have to go to Best Buy to look at this, aren't you?
Yeah, probably.
Figures.
But the toughest thing that I have is there's no content out for 4K yet. It's like, Blu-rays still link up to 1080p. You can stream Netflix in 4K on some providers, but only if your TV supports 4K and the streaming software in your TV allows you to stream to it directly. Because HDMI, there's no devices out there that really support HDMI over 4K like a Roku doesn't yet, and Blu-ray players and stuff like that don't support it. So it's kind of a mixed bag with buying that TV now.
Right, yeah, you're buying that for the future.
Which at that point, why? Because in the future it's going to be a lot cheaper.
Well, you know as well as I do, being in the tech field, that some people have to have it just because it released yesterday. It's the people who stand in line for, the iPhone 6 or 5 or 8 or whatever they're on now, just because they have to have one today. They always crack me up. Especially, I love when Apple does like winter releases, January, February releases, because it gives me an intense joy to watch these people out in the cold and snow and rain and crap to get a phone.
Well, hey,
but they
got to be first. They can't, order it online and just have it delivered to them. Got to wait in line.
And I've done the wait in line thing. Maybe it's just because I've gotten to an age where the wait in line thing just doesn't work for me anymore. Like, you know what? I think I've only waited in line once that I can think of, like for like a midnight release. I think one of the World of Warcraft expansions, me and a couple buddies waited in line, and then we played it like, we got home probably around 12:30 when we were playing, through the night. But even that, I think, is 5, 6, 7 years ago now, so I'm way too old for that crap at this point, I think.
Never done it. Never will.
I did it once. Like I said, I think I did it just because, if it was just me, I probably wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have cared. But, at least I was standing out. I guess it's like standing in line for a concert or something. If you're with friends, it's cool.
Yeah, well, I guess that's my thing. I never really had any friends. Nobody loves me.
Wow. I got a feeling we're going to go to a dark place tonight. Wow.
Yeah, but
so on that note...
On that note, yeah, so that's why I don't sleep out for things. I had no real reason to. Especially nowadays, I can get it online faster. I can get it easier. That's true. So it's kind of a catch-22s.
Yeah, I think for the most part, for electronics and stuff, I tend to buy online. I don't know. I have some local stores that I will definitely try to shop first. I do try to shop local for a bunch of stuff, like any of my gaming stuff. Board games, card games, stuff like that. I try to shop local as much as possible. Because they're not making a ton, so anytime I can support somebody local, and I have friends who run a game store here. Well, I know people who run one here, and I have friends in Washington who run a game store, so I try to shop local at least for them.
Oh, but
yeah, electronics, it seems, is just definitely easier and cheaper to get online.
Yeah, no, I don't. If I didn't have to leave my house, I wouldn't. I'll put it that way.
You're one of those guys who would thankfully be a shut-in or a hermit.
Oh yeah, I mean. Last year or 2 years ago, I was working from home full time for 2 or 3 months. I rarely ever left the house. Never found a reason to leave the house. If my wife couldn't get me to leave, I wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, I feel that. I did that a couple of years ago too, when I was working from home, and I got to the point where I'm like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I have to leave the house because I stopped showering. It was pretty bad. I wasn't even showering or anything, and I'm like, I need to go back to the office.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I would not classify myself as a germaphobe, but I have to shower every day. So
yeah, well, I do too.
It's just peeve.
I do too, except for brain shot down. Yeah, I do if I know I'm going to leave the house. If I'm going to do something or see somebody, sure. And I'm not saying I'm just going like weeks without showering. That'd be gross, but. A day or two maybe, and like you said, just not wanting to leave the house, not wanting to do anything. The ex would try to drag me out of the house. It's like, I just don't want to go. This sucks. As Sheldon said on Big Bang Theory one time, if the outside was so great, why do we spend so much time perfecting inside? And that's where all my cool stuff is.
That's right. I can't take it all with me. Might as well stay here.
Exactly. Well, you can leave it to your kids someday.
Yeah, by the time it gets up there, none of this stuff's going to be worth anything.
You never know. There might be one of them left, and your kids will have it, and it'll be worth, $1.50.
Oh, yes. In the most excellent of condition that I've kept things.
Fair enough.
Where's my buddy? Here you go. My little Magneto.
And clearly, you guys at home can't see this, but Sean is holding up a little plastic Magneto guy. Is there any particular reason?
From the 80s. I can't even see the date on the back. I think it says 84.
So that's going to be pre-cartoon. That's pre-Fox.
Yep. And nice. Then, sadly, I lost his actual cape, so he has a Batman cape on. And this is how I played with him all through the 80s and 90s.
So he hasn't had his own cape for a while.
No, he has not.
It's amazing. Like I said earlier, we played with dirt and rocks and stuff, and we were happy about it. And it's amazing what we may do with when, our parents couldn't get us exactly what we wanted, we, found and improvised. And like you said, the kids today, oh God, I am turning into that old guy. These kids today.
At least they have kids.
You kids get off. You know what? Actually, here's a story for you about how old I am, or how I feel sometimes. There's the show Top Gear. It's the British version, which is really the only one to watch. I mean, I know there's an American one, but the only one to watch is the BBC one. But anyhow, so James, Jeremy, and Richard were demoing four-wheelers. And they're in this giant, lush field, and I don't know, wherever they were. And they're terrassing around this field, and they're, going through the gears and shredding the grass, and dirt's flying and mud's flying, and it's amazing. So as they get to the end of the review for these ATVs that they're riding, they're walking across and the sun's setting, and there's just mud and dirt and everywhere. And I knew I was officially an old man because I turned to my ex and I go, "You do realize they've ruined that field? The grass is shredded." And she looked at me and goes, "Okay, old man Gamache, are you going to start yelling at kids to get off your lawn?" I go, "If they're on my lawn, I'm totally yelling at them."
Those damn kids. Get off my lawn.
Yep. I'm going to be that guy who's, the kids are going to be afraid of old man Gamache because he's going to yell at them for something.
Going to be? Already are.
Yeah. I live on a main road, so thankfully there's not too many kids on my lawn.
Well, there might be now. They'll hear this and they'll come flooding to your lawn.
Sure. I think the closest I get is the woman next door walks her dog in front of my house. That's really the closest I get. I don't even get kids trick-or-treating.
Well, that's a good thing, though.
Oh, I'm certainly not complaining. I mean, I love kids and I love Halloween, but where I live, it's just not conducive to doing a whole lot for it. I think more kids would probably get hit by a truck, unintentionally, at that. So I was just looking around the internet, and it looks like, and actually I saw this earlier and I wanted to bring it back up. I actually saw that Emma Watson of Harry Potter fame was just apparently cast to do a live-action version of Beauty and the Beast that's supposed to start
I did see that.
Filming this year.
Yep. She's going to be Belle.
Which I can kind of see. I'm kind of partial to the, I don't know if you watch the ABC show Once Upon a Time. I do enjoy the Belle that they have cast in that series. She looks to me anyhow, looks very fitting to the part. But I think Emma Watson will do okay.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that. I don't watch anything on ABC.
I think that's really the only thing I watch. Although I did start watching, I started watching something, no, it wasn't Revenge. I don't know. I started watching something else.
God.
Well, people were. This guy was sleeping with this girl, and there was sex and stuff. So I kind of got hooked on it a little bit. Although it couldn't have been too much because I can't remember the name of the series.
Called a soap opera.
Fair enough. But it's an adult. It's a primetime soap opera.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't make it any better.
Yeah, unless it's the WWE. I suppose that's the only male soap opera that you're allowed to watch.
Exactly.
Because realistically, that's the same thing.
Yeah, but at least there's men beating each other.
Yeah, which is a little, homoerotic. All that oil and slick bodies, and not that there's anything wrong with that.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. I get slicked up and I go beat people with chairs all the time. What are you trying to say?
It's the, you know what? Yeah, I think we're gonna walk away from that. The only thing that makes me a little bit nervous about this movie, and I guess it's stereotypical, but it looks like the director's gonna be Bill Condon, who directed the Breaking Dawn Twilight movies, the part 1 and part 2, so that might make me a little bit nervous.
So this is actually going to be a Disney adaptation, another live-action Disney movie, like they've been redoing Snow White and all the rest of those stupid things.
Oh, so it's going to be one of those based on kind of things.
From what I saw earlier, yeah. Well,
it looks like...
Yeah, it looks like it's an actual
Disney. It looks like reading
Disney.
further in the article, it looks like Jon Favreau is going to do a Jungle Book live action, so that'll be interesting to see.
Oh, dear God. Why?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Jon Favreau. I enjoy his work. I loved Chef. If you haven't seen that, go out and see it. It's very good, but
it's on my list.
And obviously what's that?
It's on my list.
I definitely would go see. It's actually a highly recommend. And obviously he did well with the Iron Man, but I don't know. Jungle Book is just one of those movies that I'm just not sure about.
Yeah, I can't see that being good, but you know what? Who knows? If it's not Swingers, it's not good.
You're probably going to hate me, but I don't think I've actually ever seen Swingers.
Yeah, why am I not surprised?
Shut up. There's a whole laundry list of movies that apparently people are surprised I haven't seen.
Yeah, but I've known you long enough to not be surprised anymore.
One of the guys I work with was stunned that I had never seen Hamburger Hill.
Hamburger Hell?
Hamburger Hill. I believe it's an early
oh.
Michael J. Fox movie.
Yes,
if memory serves.
I know the film.
There's another war movie. I guess I was just never into war movies. I mean, I liked Saving Private Ryan, but for the most part, I'm just not a huge war movie guy.
You know what I was watching today? I started watching Heat.
Robert De Niro.
Yep. That's a classic. And that was because I forgot what I was watching, but they started talking about Heat, and I'm like, I got to go back and watch that again. I love that movie.
And surprise, surprise, another movie I've never seen.
Go watch it. It's on Plex.
So apparently I'm going to have homework.
Yes.
That will be my homework for the next podcast, is I will watch Heat and report on it next time.
You can tell everybody how it still holds up. Other than the fact that there's like one cell phone and like they keep paging people and using payphones.
Well, that was what, the mid-90s?
95.
All right, and apparently Hamburger Hill does not have Michael J. Fox in it. I thought for some reason it did. I must be thinking of a different movie.
Michael Bowman?
No, there's definitely a war movie that Michael J. Fox was in. At least I'm thinking there is. Otherwise, I'm hallucinating, which is entirely possible too.
I wouldn't be surprised if you hallucinated it.
Oh, Casualties of War, I believe, is the movie that I was thinking of.
War. Oh, so speaking of Michael J. Fox, I'd say I finally let my kids watch Back to the Future.
Oh, and how did that go?
It was good. They really loved it. I'm turning them into little sci-fi nerds. It's great.
As well, you should. Isn't that? I think that's from everything I've understood from friends of mine who have kids. That's really the only reason to have them, is turn them into little sci-fi nerds.
Hey, you gotta do what you can. You gotta raise them correctly.
Well, I think anytime as long as you teach your kids to, love what they love unconditionally, regardless of what it is. But yeah, it'd be preferable that they're, it's sci-fi and fantasy and things like that.
Yeah, so first we did Doctor Who.
Awesome.
And then, yeah. And now, oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. First was Star Wars.
Well, sure.
In the correct order. Because I did have to show them the prequels, but I showed it to them in the correct order.
You mean you actually admitted to your children that those movies existed?
Hey, they have to know about it eventually. Because then I could show them the animated series, and it falls right into the whole realm of it.
I don't know, man. It's just, I think if I ever have kids, I'm just not admitting they exist. I just don't know if I can do it. They're just so bad.
Well, now we're gonna have 8, 9, and 10 coming. Wait,
I thought it was 7, 8,
7,
9.
8, and 9. Yeah, I knew I was gonna get that wrong.
It's okay. Yeah, I think they're saying next year or maybe later this year. I know I read somewhere that they're saying it's gonna be the first time a Star Wars movie is not released in May.
Well,
which I didn't realize that apparently every Star Wars movie in theatrical release was released in May, but apparently they're saying this time this one will not be.
Well, but that's just because after the first one, he put the rest out at a specific date and time. 'Cause he controlled all of that.
Oh, sure.
And then again, once we got into the prequels, I mean, he was already well established that he can do whatever the hell he wanted.
Well, sure, because he's George Lucas.
Yeah.
Not that I want George Lucas. I mean, I get Lucas is powerful, and I don't want to end up mysteriously disappearing after this podcast because I insulted George Lucas. But really, I mean, come on.
Well, there was an article earlier this week about how apparently he got snubbed by the guys making the new movie or new movies, that they didn't want to take his advice because they didn't take his feedback or whatever, his ideas. Which, as far as I'm concerned, is a really good thing because you don't need more Jar Jar. The golden years.
Well, I think it was fine until I think the first ones were good because George didn't have complete control. I mean, he wasn't running everything like he did with the prequels. I mean, the prequels were, Lucas, like you said, Lucas got to the point where Lucas could just say, hey, I'm just going to do all of it and suck it. So I can't say as I disagree with them, kind of going, what, George, just enjoy your money that you got from Disney, go relax and, retire somewhere.
Yeah. I agree. Although I will say, so I just looked it up, and it looks like Empire Strikes Back actually came out in June. All the others were in May, but that one was June. And yes, I'm nerd enough to look them all up. I fact-check it.
Well, I'm nerd enough to I was actually looking up on IMDb that it looks like they're actually scheduling a December release of this year for the new Star Wars movie. So
yes, The Force Awakens.
Yeah. I remember when the first trailer came out, the teaser came out, and the new lightsaber was revealed, and all of the nerds of the internet lost their shit. Oh my god!
Same thing happened with Darth Maul. They first showed that.
That's
it's
true.
The same thing.
I don't get internet. I mean, I love my internet nerds. I am one of them, but holy crap, I do not get internet nerds sometime. I actually had earlier this week or last week. There was, for those of you who don't have Netflix, there was seemingly for a little while the Netflix was in negotiations with the BBC, and it looked like there was a possibility that they weren't going to renew the contract, and which means that all the BBC shows, Doctor Who, Torchwood, Luther, shows like that from the BBC were going to be taken off Netflix. And holy crap, the internet nerd rage that was flaming across the internet at Netflix, which cracked me up. I mean, I get that, you're upset that your shows are going away, but it seemed to me at least that, 99% of the rage was directed solely at Netflix for why are you doing this, Netflix? Like, nobody took into account, hey, maybe the BBC's asking for too much money, or hey, maybe Netflix is using this to kind of negotiate them down. But, man, it just seemed like Netflix was just getting destroyed by every internet nerd who did not want to lose Doctor Who. I saw everything on my Facebook wall of, how can Netflix do this? Why would Netflix do this to us? Get it in now. It's like, just calm the hell down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people are way too out there. They get nutty at times, and I don't know what they're thinking.
Well, it's like I was saying to a friend of mine that it's the reason I don't read comments on anything on the internet. I just refuse to. Because it's just, there's nothing that good that can come out of it.
Oh, I read comments on everything. I refuse to comment back, but I'll read the comments. Not all of them.
I just feel dumber most of the time and angry at the ignorance of some of the people that just... I just can't do it. I've trained myself to not read comments on stuff unless it's, I have some friends on YouTube that I'll read the comments on their videos because I know, like yours and my friend Steve, who I'll link to him in the show notes too because he really does some great stuff. He's a teacher in middle Southern California, so like comments on his stuff I'll read because I know they're generally pretty good. But yeah, generally YouTube video comments, anything on any news site, I just don't read any of it. It's too infuriating.
Yeah, but their ignorance makes for some hilarity at times, especially these days. Like, 'cause I read a lot of tech stuff, and in some cases you get people that will argue and fight, especially over like PC versus console versus Xbox versus PlayStation. It's like, are you people really that kind of fanboy nerdists that you have to do this stuff? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, see, I just can't do it. Sorry. Actually, you talk about fanboying and internet rage. Last year, my ex got me into watching Supernatural, the TV show, which I had, for the longest time, I had refused to watch, just straight up refused, because it was a CW show. And at the time, I think when that was on, it was, when it started, it was like One Tree Hill, and a lot of teeny, Dawson's Creek, I think, was on,
garbage
stuff like that.
Shows.
So just teeny bopper shows, stuff that I'm certainly not going to watch. So I just lumped Supernatural into that. Well, last year I finally had seen a couple of them. TNT plays them during the day, so I said, what the hell? I'll sit down and I'll watch it. It's supposed to be a horror monster show. I'll at least give it a shot. Well, 2.5 months later, I just steamrolled through 8 seasons of it. With my ex watching me, and laughing at me a preponderance of the time, because for the most part she knew what was going to happen. Well, my friend Sam, I just got into actually getting her to watch it a month or two ago, maybe a little more than that now, and actually I'm getting text messages now as she got to a certain point in the show where one of the semi-main characters of the show died, and she's kind of losing her shit at the moment, so I don't think she's happy with me at the moment that I got her involved.
Hey, that's life, man. Everyone's got to die eventually.
Yeah, it cracked me up, though, about a week or so, maybe it's a little more than that now. Another character had gone through some stuff, and she actually texted me with, I'm not okay with this, but, as long as so-and-so doesn't die. And, of course, being caught up, I know what's going to happen to this character. And I'm like, well, what the hell do I respond to this? I have no idea, So I think I just sent the smiley with the X of, I'm not saying anything, or I said something to that effect, because it's just, what are you going to say? It was awesome. And now, like I said, she's getting to the point where I was afraid she was going to get to, and she's not happy with me.
Yeah, those are the worst. I mean, speaking of CW shows, I refused to watch any of them as well until I finally started watching Arrow. And that show's pretty badass.
It is. I'm way behind on it. I think I've only gotten through like half of season 1. And I know it's on Netflix, and it's one of those things that's on my list. But yeah, I agree with you. It's pretty awesome. And you get the nerd cred of, you have John Barrowman, who's on it, who was in Torchwood and Doctor Who. So, instant nerd cred there.
They had another... Oh, they had a River Song. I forget the actress's name.
Summer Glau.
No. From
Alex Kingston. Excuse me,
yes.
Alex Kingston. For some reason I was thinking of.
They did have Summer Glau on there as well, but that's not who I was referring to. They have a lot of nerd cred, definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a good show. I mean, I also started watching The Flash, which is sort of a spin-off of that show, of Arrow. That's pretty good as well.
Cool.
Definitely not as good, because it's not that same... Well, I mean, Arrow is really like a Batman-esque kind of show. Rich guy goes out, has no powers, and is just kind of fighting crime. All right.
I'm not sure how often we'll do this. Hopefully maybe weekly, bi-weekly, something like... Not twice a week, God. I don't know if we can manage that, but every other week. Bi-monthly? Yeah, I think that's what I mean, is bi-monthly.
Biannually?
God, I hope it'd be a little more than that.
Well, if it's like your video post now.
Hey. You know what? Actually, last thing, I actually tried to do one Saturday morning or Sunday morning, and it was just one of those days where just everything looked awful. I was not happy with the lighting. I wasn't happy with anything. It just, So I definitely have to try and get that done.
Well, see, that's the advantage of doing game videos. Doesn't matter what I look like. Nothing else sees it. As long as it renders well, that's all that matters.
Fair enough.
And this, great sexy voice right here. That's all that has to be working.
Sure, we'll go with it. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen.
Perfect way. Segue right out. There you go.
All right. I'm Chuck.
And I'm Sean.
And this has been Welcome to the Pondcast. We'll see you next time. 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 We'll see you